What up, Series here. Now, here is my throwback segment where I talk about the films that turns 10, 20, 30, and 40 this week. To be honest, not a whole lot to really talk about, but the 10-year one we have out this week is a film that probably hardly no one really heard of, called Frontera, which stars Michael Pena, Ed Harris, Ava Longoria, and it's about after crossing the border illegally, a Mexican worker played by Pena, it is accused of murdering the wife of a former U.S. lawman played by Ed Harris. I remember seeing this one all the way back. It's been a while since I've seen it, to be honest. Yeah, but I remember sort of enjoying it. Michael Pena, who is always great. Ed Harris is pretty good in this. So I gotta rewatch this again, to be honest. Yeah, but I quite enjoyed it at the time. Anyway, films turning 20 this week. We got the comedy The Cookout. Now, The Cookout, of course, was written by Queen Latifah, starring the likes of Ja Rule, Tim Meadows, Megan Good, uh, and it tells the story of a basketball player who has joined the New Jersey Nets, which his parents celebrate with a family cookout at his new home, while a former classmate comes up with a devious plot. The Cookout is a really hilarious one. Of course, Ja Rule, who been a while since I've heard any Ja Rule music lately. But Ja Rule was pretty funny in this. Of course, this came out around the early 2000 with some really guilty pleasure comedies, in my opinion. And The Cookout was actually a pretty fun one. So if you guys never seen The Cookout, you also had again, Queen Latifah wrote this and appeared in it. Who doesn't love Queen Latifah, right? She is the queen there. Tim Mel's is pretty fun in this. They also did a sequel, which you don't have to really bar, but The Cookout is a really fun one. Alright, also turning 20, we got Wicker Park, which was directed by Paul Megalian, who also put out that movie Lucky Number 7 with Bruce Willis, and he did that Victor Frankenstein movie a couple years back too. Now, this movie stars the likes of Josh Hartnett, Rose Byrne, Diane Kruger, and Matthew Lillard, and it's a remake of a 1996 French film. And again, it stars Josh Hartnett, and it's of course a trailer where stepping back and forth in time and revealing the story of from each character's perspective and all. Really cool little thriller. Josh Hartnett, at the time he was obviously he was pretty much everywhere back in the 2000 late 90s 2000. Really cool to see him having a little bit of a comeback with Oppenheimer, Trap. Of course, his chemistry with Rose Byrne was pretty decent. Matthew Lillard was great in this. Really cool little thriller to watch. Alright. Also turning 20, we got Paparazzi. This is actually a really good film that they could totally come back to today. If you guys don't know much about Paparazzi, starred Cole Hauser, who I believe was in Too Fast, Too Furious, if I'm not mistaken. Or was he in yeah, I believe he was in Too Fast, Too Furious. You also had appearances by Chris Rock, Mel Gibson, Matthew McConaughey, and it chronicles the life of a popular Hollywood film star, Bo Laramie, who, in the aftermath of a car crash caused by four paparazzi tabloid photographer, Bo soon goes on a quest to get revenge on the gang for almost killing him and his family. This is a really fun little thriller to watch. It shows how crazy the paparazzis could be. I mean, if you watch stuff like TMZ or see celebrities, being interviewed by these pops, or as Chucky would from See It Chucky would just call them, paparazzi scumbags. It gets definitely this is a right film to watch. And it's a really cool little thriller if you guys haven't seen it. All right, now films turning 30, we got Killing Zoe, which was directed by Roger Avery, who also directed The Rules of Attraction and the film Lucky Day a couple years back. And it starred Eric Stoltz, who is, of course, almost Marty McFly in Back to the Future, as well as Julie Delpy, who also had who will go on to have a bigger career with the Before trilogy. And it tells the story details of a safecracker named Zed, who returns to France to aid an old friend in performing a doom bank heist. And not a bad little thriller here. Of course, this was like one of Julie Delpy's earliest films before before her big break with before Sunset, or yeah, before Sunrise. I meant. I always keep getting the shit mixed up. But it's a really cool like cat and mouse thriller. Roger Avery, who doesn't really direct a whole lot nowadays, he's put, of course, Rules of Attraction is a pretty good one, so not a bad director there. All right, also turning. Oh, and another film turning 20 is Milk Money, directed by Richard Benjamin, who's directed films like the Cher and Winona Ryder film called Mermaids, the Damon Wayans film Marcy X, and the Tom Hanks classic The Money Pit. Now, this also stars Ed Harris, so a couple of Ed Harris stuff this week, as well as Melanie Griffin. And the film is about three suburban 11-year-old kids who find themselves behind the battle of the other wheelchair, believing they would regain the upper hand if they could just to see a lady in their yeah, I'm not gonna say the full stuff, but yeah, it's pretty much like American Pie before American Pie came. So yeah. Anyway, also turning dirty, we got Man of War, which is a pretty terrible Dolph Lundgren film. A former special ops soldier who leads a group of mercenaries to a treasure island in the South China Sea. Yeah, I mean, I've always liked Dolph Lundgren, but sometimes he's always done some not so great films over the years, and this was one of them. So yeah. All right. Also turning dirty. We got A Simple Twist of Faith with Steve Martin, as well as Gabriel Bryan, Stephen Baldwin, and Catherine O'Hara. Where a bitter divorced man's life is brightened by the arrival of an abandoned child. Now, this is not really like Steve Martin's memorable film, to be honest. Yeah, like when you ever think of like look back and think of Steve Martin's filmography, this is really one that many people really talk about. Like, obviously, you'll always bring up The Jerk, you'll always bring up Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, Fall the Bride, Cheaper by a Dozen. But not many people really talk about this. I mean, if you guys haven't seen it, it is on Disney Plus. I remember watching this as a kid. It's been like decades since I've seen it, but it's not really one of his memorable films to be honest. So yeah. All right. Also turning dirty, we got There Goes My Baby, which stars the likes of Dermot Mulroney, Rick Schroeder, Kelly Williams, and so from the point of view of the class valedictorian Mary Bev. And the story follows a group of high school seniors during the 1965 Watts riot. And the film was pretty much finished and originally intended by a theatrical run in 1991. However, it did not receive its release until September 2nd. So, yeah, to be honest, if this was released today, it would go on to streaming. But, I mean, not that much of a memorable film. So, yeah. I mean, Dermot Mulroney, of course, at the time was pretty becoming more of a breakout. Of course, he would have like his big breakout in My Best Friend's Wedding, and I mean, who doesn't love Dermot Mulroney? Obviously, as a horror nut, he was awesome in last year's Scream. So there's that, or Scream 6, I should say. Speaking of horror, also turning dirty is Amityville 1992, another Amityville horror movie. These Amityville horror films after the first Amityville with James Brolin. Oh man, these Amityville movies are so. Other than the original, and even the Ryan Reynolds ones isn't so bad. But yeah, of course they had Amityville 3D, Amityville 1992. Uh, there's like some other terrible Amityville films out there. This is definitely one of them that's not so good. I mean, if you guys don't know much about Amityville 992, uh, it's actually pretty much called Amityville 1992. It's about the time widow Jacob and brings an old metal rock back from a business trip to Amityville, New York. However, he and his family are unaware of the clock's dark history, It's not long before Jake, his girlfriend Andrea, and his children Lisa and Rusty are faced with a horrifying vision of animal attacks and the bending of time here. So yeah, it's pretty much just Amityville meets Back to the Future. It's yeah, not all that great. These Amityville movies are, other than the original, obviously, nothing about the other Amityville movies were all that great. Like they just kept like cranking them out here and there. So yeah. All right. Also turning 40, I'm gonna go. There's also the brother from another planet. Not a lot turns 40 this week. But The Brother from Another Planet was a really nice little like 80s sci-fi film. It starred Joe Morton, who you might know as Cyborg's dad, and he appeared as Cyborg's dad in Justice League. And he's been in some other cool stuff like that God Friended Me show. This is about a mute alien who, with the appearance of a black human, is chased by outer space bounty hunters through the streets of Harlem. If this movie came out today, people will automatically just call this woke. Not a bad little like. Of course, this came out around a time where like the sci-fi genre was very popular. You know, of course, this was coming off the success of E.T. and everything, and this was a really cool little like a sci-fi film worth checking out. I mean, if you guys haven't seen it, give it a go. All right, also turning 40 is the Warrior and the Sorceress. Yeah, now this of course became like notorious due to Maria Sosa spending much of the movie without clothes here. Uh, and you also had like David Carradine was in this. Yeah, it's pretty much like a cult classic. I mean, I don't even think I've ever really seen that to be honest. I probably did, but maybe at times where I was not supposed to watch these type of films. But yeah, not a lot to really talk about with the 4 year one. But let me let you guys. Which of these films stand out to you the most? I guess I'll just say the only one in the 10 year one, Frontera. The 20 year one, I'm probably going to go with the Cookout, which is hilarious. The 30 year one, probably. I don't know, probably I guess Killing Zoe, that was a better one. And the 4 year one, The Brother from Another Planet. Anyway, drop comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for notification. This is Sammy